Oh, who left that dirty dish in the sink? Oh yeah, it was me. I'm the only one that lives here. Well, better give it a quick clean. There we go. 6 o'clock. It's time for the news. Now, where did I put that TV remote? Why does it always go missing? Come on, where is it? Oh, right here. Always down the back of the sofa. Right, let's see what's on. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bert Buggington for Minecraft The Journey News. I'm here with Bugmare, the former member of the Journey World, who was recently forced to step down from his position due to a major investigation into fraud and money laundering. Bugmare, what's the current situation with the ongoing investigation? Thank you, Bert. First, I would like to say that thankfully this ridiculous investigation is now at an end and the fraud charges have been dropped because there was not a single piece of evidence against me that could be found, leaving me in the clear. Completely innocent. Well, according to anonymous sources, the investigation team did uncover a series of documents and papers showing that you were at the center of a major corruption scandal, but the charges had to be dropped after these documents went mysteriously missing and the fraud office headquarters caught on fire. Do you have any comment on that? Lies, all lies. I am completely innocent. Additionally, I will be rerunning for mayor in the forthcoming elections, and if there's anyone out there who needs any work, I will be distributing leaflets in the new Northern Journey World villages that were recently discovered.
A job?
If you're interested in
I've never had a job before.
then get in touch with
I'm
my
gonna
office.
apply.
Thank you, Bugmare, and good luck in the upcoming elections. In other news, a mysterious stone brick structure was recently unearthed just north of the Beta Area Lake.
This is going to be great. I'm going to head upstairs and apply it right
possibly
now.
built by aliens. And sent. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Minecraft The Journey with me, bugmancx, and we're here in Minecraft Beta 1.8, the leaked pre-release version of Beta 1.8. And as you can tell, I just sent off my job application, so I really hope I get it, because if nothing else, it'll give me something to do, right? Wait, a reply? Already? You're not going to believe this. I got the job! Well, this seems all pretty straightforward. According to the welcome email, all I have to do is take all of these pamphlets and distribute them at the village. Coordinates are x minus 716, and on the z, it's minus 2000. That's pretty far away, actually, so I'm going to have to go on quite a journey to get there. But that's okay. I'm going to enjoy myself while I do it. So let me just pick all of these up, and we'll make our way over there. I believe I'm all set and ready to head off on my trek. I've got a few provisions with me, a bed, some compasses, my leaflets that I need to distribute, and a map just in case we need to do any mappy stuff, some wood and some food. That should be enough. Now, hopefully the journey doesn't kill me, but you know, I've done it before. It's just a bit of exercise. Let's head on out there. Since we're now heading out into the wilderness, I thought we could talk about the new health and hunger mechanics added into Beta 1.8. Until now, you only needed food to recover any lost health, and eating a food item would instantly recover some of your hearts. That's also why Notch originally made it so that food didn't stack, so that there was a bit more challenge around managing your inventory and hunting for food when recovering your hearts. And in fact, a few months before Beta 1.8 was released, Jeb said that he once made food stackable, but Notch disapproved. Stackable food was planned to be added when hunger would get added to the game. Hey, that's now! This new hunger system completely changes how important food is to the player, because this new system means that I'll get hungry just by doing things in the game and not necessarily for losing hearts. So we're going to end up consuming a lot more food in the long run. Above the hotbar, we now have these new hunger indicators, which show how full my hunger is. The player's hunger values are tracked inside of the player's data with 4 new values that are set. I can actually bring these up on screen in an almost real-time way so that we can monitor what's going on under the hood for a bit and see how our actions in the world have an effect on these values. First, you can see my player's current health, which corresponds to my hearts below. The food level is how full my hunger bar is. food tick timer is more of a technical counter, and it's used to count the number of ticks between different hunger calculations. The food exhaustion level determines how fast my saturation depletes, and the more activities I do, the higher that number goes. You'll see it constantly changing as we go. And finally, food saturation level determines how fast my hunger level depletes, and this number also changes depending on what I've eaten. To explain the saturation a little bit more, think of saturation as the feeling of being full. You know how like when you eat a big meal you feel really full, but just eating a couple of cookies doesn't really give you that full feeling. Saturation's a bit like that. Eating food fills up our hunger bar, but the higher the quality of the food eaten, the higher the level of saturation. And saturation's important because the higher your saturation, the longer it will be before your hunger bars start depleting again. So, eating good food, like cooked meats, will give you higher saturation, and eating bad foods, like cookies, will give you much less saturation. So the idea is to try and eat better food, because it will recover more hunger and give you increased saturation. Saturation starts depleting the more I move around, so if I'm doing things like walking or sprinting, jumping or attacking mobs, my saturation will decrease, and then once my saturation reaches 0, if I keep on moving, I start to feel hungry again and my hunger bars go down. So let's give this a try. At the moment my hunger bar is down and my saturation is 0 because I haven't eaten for a while. If I eat this piece of bread, you can see that my saturation increases by 6, and while my saturation's up, my food level will stay constant. But if my saturation drops to 0, I'll start losing hunger again. My hunger affects how my hearts will recover if I've taken damage too. They'll automatically recover at a rate of half a heart every 4 seconds, as long as my hunger is at 18 or above. But if I'm still healing up and running around, I could cause my food level to drop, and if it goes lower than 18, regeneration stops and I need to eat food again to be able to recover. So it makes sense, especially if you're low on food, to just stop and stand still if you can while you're recovering your hearts. If my food level drops to 6, which is just 3 drumsticks, I won't be able to sprint anymore. I'm trying, it's just not working. And if I let my hunger bar run down to 0, I'll start taking damage and eventually die. With the new hunger system, some new foods have been added to the game. The most noticeable change is with the cooked pork chop. It's now much lighter in colour, I think more resembling what real cooked pork looks like. But we can also get some other meats too. Down here we have a chicken. Let's see what you might give me. As you can see, I've got myself some raw chicken. If I can find a cow around here too, I should be able to get raw beef. Come on then, cow. Let's see what you got. Oh, 3. Oh, I was hungry. Didn't know I was that hungry. Let's have a look here and see what we've got. So now we have the raw pork chop, the raw chicken, and the raw beef. Of course, we can cook all of these as we already have some cooked pork chops here. We also have to be careful about handling raw chicken because there's a 30% chance that eating a raw chicken, could actually make me hungry, just like that one did. Notice how my hunger bar down there has now gone green, telling me that maybe I should see a doctor. I think I'm gonna be sick. When your player eats food, there's a new eating animation, and this animation was created by Notch. Jeb had hinted that C418 might be working on the sound effects, but as of this version, there don't seem to be any. I don't think everyone was excited to learn about this new hunger mechanic, and that it might have made the game too complex. Jeb was asked if there would be a pre-1.8 option for players who didn't want the new hunger system. He said, "I guess so. Notch wanted hunger to be optional, I think." So there might have been a possibility that a feature to turn it off could have been added, but it never was. You might also have noticed that there are these black outlines around the food items in the early versions of Minecraft. For some reason this outline was added to all of the meaty items, but I don't know why. It kind of makes them look strange. Jeb tweeted out a picture of cooked chicken during development, and this texture's slightly different from what would wind up in the final version. The original version was a bit softer, and Jeb changed it based on feedback, giving it more definition. And meat wasn't the only new food to be added to the game. You can now grow melons from melon seeds, but we're going to have to find some before we can explore that. There's also another new food item dropped by zombies. Ugh, yuck. Sounds gross. I'm sure we'll find some of that when it gets to nighttime. Okay, All of this talk about food is making me hungry. We need to get on with it and find that village. I've got work to do. With the new combat mechanics in Beta 1.8, there is a new feature which I have been using, but I've been waiting about 100 episodes for this feature to be added to the game, and that's the ability to sprint. Right now I'm just walking around at normal pace, and as you can see, to travel long distances takes quite a while because walking is pretty slow. But if I want to speed up my pace, I can sprint, and I do that by just double tapping the W key, and now I'm in sprint mode. But there is a penalty, of course. With the new hunger system, my hunger will deplete about 4 times faster than it would with normal walking. But to me, that's okay, because remember, I can carry a lot of food now, so all I need to do is just make sure that my hunger keeps up, and I'll be able to sprint pretty much indefinitely. One of the other benefits of sprinting is that I should be able to jump clear across 4 blocks. Wow. Previously, with normal walking, I would only be able to manage about 2. Since heading out on this epic trek, this is one of the first opportunities I've had to see the taiga biome since Beta 1.8. You might notice a lack of snow here, and that's because Notch said that the snowy biomes were causing problems for the new terrain generation. So that's why in Beta 1.8 we have these snow-free taiga biomes, and also why the tundra was completely removed. But Notch said this was all temporary, and that these would be making a comeback in Beta 1.9. Probably. Look at that amazing sunset, right? There is some beauty in the Beta 1.8 terrain, I suppose. It's getting dark now, though, and I've got a little bit of a way to go. It's just over that way, about 500 more blocks, I think. So I've just got to get through this swamp and then see what's on the other side. While I was out here, though, I was thinking, I'm keen to try and find a zombie because I want to know what that new food type is. So far, it's been very quiet out here, not a zombie in sight. Whoa! Oh! Oh! Those textures! Oh! Well, you're an interesting looking tree. Hey, little buddy! Let's see what you've got for us, shall we? Oh, look at that! Beef jerky! So let's take a little bit of a closer look at this new food item, shall we? It does look a little bit like beef jerky, but it's actually rotten flesh. Ugh! So if you're eating that, you're eating part of a zombie's disgusting old rotten flesh. Oh, that's gross. But this doesn't even look that rotten to me. It's got a little bit of green in it, but frankly, it could have been way worse, I think. This looks pretty tame in terms of what rotten flesh could look like. One of the interesting things about the rotten flesh is that this is now the drop for the zombie, but also the zombie pigman. And you might remember that originally zombies would drop feathers, and that was always a placeholder until Notch and the team could figure out a more appropriate drop for them. For the zombie pigmen, they always used to drop pork chops or cooked pork chops if they were on fire, but now they'll just drop flesh just like the regular zombies will. So we should eat this, right? We should see what it tastes like. I don't know if I'm ready for this. Okay, I'm going to eat some rotten flesh. I've got to focus the mind. I can do it. All right. Oh, that tasted disgusting. But notice also that it's made me hungry, so this is another really bad food. A bit like eating raw chicken, there's a chance of rotten flesh making you hungry and actually depleting your hunger rather than actually replenishing it. And there's an 80% chance that rotten flesh will actually cause this to happen. So you got to be pretty desperate if you need the rotten flesh. I think it gives you a temporary boost, but then it causes the hunger to drop back more quickly. So it's a real emergency food if you need to heal your hearts up. I think we should just about be there by now. I've got, let's see, about 300 blocks to go in this direction. So I've just got to cross this river and this desert. Let's hope that these mobs don't attack me because I don't want to die this far out. I should have slept, but I was just too eager to get there. Let's get rid of you and get rid of you. Oh, more of them. Got to try and avoid them as much as possible. Look at that, off in the distance. Are they after me? No, it's clear. Look at that, I can see it off in the distance. All right, I'm going to find some shelter and sleep properly. Maybe down in this cave here. And hopefully By morning, we should be in a brand new village. Well, I don't want to get too distracted, but it turns out I didn't spend the night inside of a little hole after all. It looks like I spent the night on top of a mob spawner, which has been buried underneath all of this sand. So I might have to come back and investigate that later, but right now I'm in a little bit of danger. I did see some creepers still out. We've got a village to find! Oh, I'm looking forward to this. I can't wait to see a brand new village. I better get all my leaflets out so I can be ready to distribute them to all the people, right? Huh. Looks a little bit deserted. What do you make of this? There are roads, and there are light poles. But where are all the houses? Well, this village is affected by exactly the same kind of bug as the stronghold was, and that is incomplete generation. The center of the village is that well over there, and in fact, it was Jeb who added the well to villages when he took over some of the building work from Notch. So the well is the center of the village, and then all of these roads go out in these directions like this, and this seems to be like quite a large one. But what we're not seeing here are any structures. Well, this is quite a fascinating sight to behold, right? A huge village completely devoid of any buildings. And it's thanks to Beta 1.8 pre-release 1, the leaked pre-release, that we're even able to experience this. And I'll be happy to upgrade soon because the mob models being all completely broken is really starting to get to me in terms of spoiling my gameplay. Also, the crashes and other problems. Hopefully, once we get off this version, we'll be able to get some more stability back into our lives. But I don't want to leave this village just yet. I'm going to get onto the multiplayer server and bring out the camera account so we can have a better look at this place. Well, here in multiplayer mode, my character is stuck to the ground, but my camera is capable of flying around in the sky, and we can have a look at this amazing looking village. Check it out. Look at the size of that. You know, I'm really pleased to have found this and have this in my game because this is one of those rare bugs in Minecraft which was really only accessible to players for a few hours. That pre-release was uploaded and then re-uploaded within just a few hours. So if you didn't grab it in time, you would have never got to see this bug. But thankfully for us, we're able to head out here and get it generated in our world. And now we can keep it preserved like this forever and ever. Before we wrap up today, and pretty much before we wrap up this buggy, leaked pre-release version of Minecraft Beta 1.8, there is something else that I wanted to explore, which I'm hoping is going to be a little bit of fun. So this version was leaked. In other words, it wasn't ready to be released to the public, and because of that, it contains some extra debug code inside of the game, which gives us access to some controls that you wouldn't normally be able to experience. Let's go through these one by one. First is the F9 key. I'm pressing the F9 key now, and the F9 key freezes the camera in its current position. So right now I'm moving my mouse, but I'm unable to actually move my player. And if you look carefully at my player's arm down there, you can see that the shadows are changing, and that's probably because while I'm actually moving, the camera isn't. So the sun is still affecting me in strange ways. Now, am I able to press F9 again and get out of that? Yes, I am. So F6 is a very interesting one indeed. F6 gives us the ability to control time. Where's the sun at the moment? The sun is starting to set. So if I press F6, I can make time go backwards. And if I press F6 again, I can make it go back even faster. And by letting it go, I think it does resort back to standard timekeeping again. You can see that the sun has stopped moving. And if I press F7, I can accelerate time and make it go even faster. Faster and faster. So this is really a way of being able to skip the night without sleeping, I suppose. I can just continuously press F7. And over here we should see the sunrise in a moment. Any moment now. Come on, sun. There we go. A really, really quick morning. One of the other peculiarities of using the F6 and F7 keys in this way is that if I press F6 and make time go backwards, something strange happens to my character. My Y level stays constant, which means that while I move my player around, I'm unable to move up or down on the Y level at all. And I really don't know why this is the case, but it is just the way that this particular mode works. The other strange thing about it is that block collision behaves really, really strangely when it comes to the player. For example, I can walk right into this wall block here and player collision with the block seems to be very odd. I can enter the block and then I'm pushed out again, which is really strange. And if I were to find one that was at head height, like that one, it's way over there, but that one over there, and enter that block, I'll take suffocation damage because my head and eye line are at the same level as the block. So entering that block causes me to take damage. But it's a really strange one, isn't it? I really don't have an explanation for this. Now, how do I get out of this really weird mode? Well, I've been doing a bit of experimenting with that as well. So if I press F6 again, it should cause my player to go back to the usual mode. So what a weird one, huh? But it is really fun to be able to play with time in this manner. I feel like I'm in charge of the universe. So satisfying. I think it's also worth mentioning that this time manipulation doesn't really seem to be real. As we can see, it's about the middle of the night right now because the moon is right above our heads. So if I press F7, that should cause the moon to set and the sun to rise just like it has. But if I go out of the game now, so it is dawn, and if I go out of the game and go back in again, it's still the middle of the night. In fact, time has only passed ever so slightly. So whatever it is, it's just a visual thing, and it doesn't seem to really affect the time in the world around us at all. The next set of debug keys are the N and the M keys, and these change the view rotation in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. So let's give this one a try. Pressing and holding N. Oh, that's really strange and disconcerting, isn't it? And M should do it in the other direction as well. Oh, that is really strange. So if I were to turn it upside down like this. No, I can't play the game like this. I definitely can't play the game like this. Why would they need this? I was about to say I don't quite know how to get out of this, but the way to do it is to hold N and M simultaneously, just like that. And it resets everything back to normal. Thank goodness. I was getting seasick. Normally within this game, if I want to change my field of view, I have to go out here to the options menu where I can change my FOV with this slider here from normal all the way up to Quake Pro. And Quake Pro gives me quite a wide field of view where I can see much more of my surroundings. Putting that back to normal, of course, puts me back to this normal mode. But in this debug version of the game, I'm able to use the Y and H keys to increase or decrease my field of view. So let's try that out. First with the Y key, because I spy some mobs down there. Let's see if we can press Y and zoom in on them. Hello, oh, that's a bit close. So we'll zoom back out with the H key a little bit. And look at that. It's almost like we've got our very own binoculars. And I think this is also exactly how Optifine does it in future versions of the game where that exists. But with these Y and H keys, I can zoom my field of view out a little bit by a little bit as well, back to kind of normal. But check this out. Let's go past Quake Pro. Even more. Oh, my arm has been separated from my body and I have this ridiculously wide field of view. But I can go even further. Look at that. We can see everything. These blocks beneath me here are all looking very, very weird. Look at how the world changes when I look directly down beneath my feet. I've never seen Minecraft look like that. It's unusual, to say the least. Okay, let's try and put this back because I can still go out even further. And when I do, oh, weird things happen. It is a little bit fast on the keyboard, but I've sort of passed the maximum point and my view has gone backwards. I need to fix this because I can't really deal with that for a very long period of time. But this seems to be back to a bit of a more normal mode. I think I've discovered a whole new way of playing Minecraft, the FOV challenge. These debug controls also let me use my keyboard to move where my player's looking at, just like I can normally do with my mouse. Although because it's the keyboard, these controls are going to be pretty clunky. So by pressing I, J, K, and L respectively, I can look up, look down, look left, and look right. There's one more set of debug keys that I'm really keen to try out, and that's the U and the O keys, and these manipulate how the F5 third-person camera works. Now, as you know, only the rear camera works in these versions. It's yet to be re-implemented, and so we can only look at the back of our head. But by using the U and the O key, I can actually zoom the camera in or out. So for example, by pressing U, I can zoom in like this and go right through my head, and then press O to bring the camera back. And I can even go further and further back like this. If I move my character's head, the camera should shift with me as well, because really what we're doing here is moving where the camera is. And if I zoom back in again, we can get a little bit closer. But it gets a little bit strange here, because if I zoom in past my head and then start moving my camera around, it's really difficult to see exactly where I am. This isn't working quite the same way that, say, FreeCam does. This is working a slightly different way. It's moving the position of the camera, but the angle is relative to my head. So yeah, that's a little bit of a strange one to get used to. I need to reset it manually as well, because there's no automatic reset. So somehow I'll have to figure out where I am and just wait until my camera gets back to where I think it should be. And hopefully that's looking normal again. Well, I have to say that some of my favorite episodes are the ones like this, where we get to explore mechanics, bugs, and quirks, the sorts of things that you can't experience in any other version of Minecraft. So thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you enjoyed yourself, then feel free to leave a comment below, leave a thumbs up, or something like that. It helps the video out and helps my channel grow. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting me. That support means so much to me. Thank you so much. Until the next episode, this has been bugmancx. You've been watching Minecraft: The Journey. I just realised I didn't distribute any leaflets. Am I still going to get paid?